Yes. Assalamu alaikum, jama'a Arewa. Kamar yacce kuka fi sani na, kamar yacce kuka fi sani, kamar yacce kuka Assalamu alaikum. Welcome back to episode something of Hello Nothingness. I'm Isani AJ and I am here to deliver. Mimi, you are distracting me. So today's episode is should I say sentimental? But it's a very important and Mimi, it's about the four caliphs of Islam, and we have treated this topic in school, and it just, as usual, it has as usual is it sorry as usual it has inspired me in a lot of ways, and it has made me feel things, honestly even shed tears at some point, and I have derived a lot of lessons from the lives of the four caliphs, which are of course Abubakar, Siddiq, Umar bin Khattab, Uthman, and Ali. So today we're gonna start with two caliphs, and on the part two of the video, maybe I'll show it another time. We'll be talking about the two, but for the first, we'll be talking about the two first caliphs, which are Bakr and Umar. I'll do that sometimes. So okay, before we start, I'm gonna tell a short story because we were just talking about it with my sister, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna tell this story. So the okay, see Anjuma. Now, so here's the thing. In this at that I don't know, it was an event, NCC, Northern Connect Conference, whatever. The NCC event that happened. Honestly, yeah, we were gonna go there for work, from work, because of work stuff. But then I wasn't really gonna go. But then until I heard that Wonderwise and Fizzy were going. So like I went there with the hope I'll see them. And so when we arrived there, I actually forgot about it, and we were sitting, me, my sister, and my coworker Aisha, and before you know it, I just saw Yasar pass, and I was like, "Oh my God, Yasar!" And my coworker was like, "Bye, bye, bye," and I was like, "Gashtin, Gashtin, Gashtin." She was like, she just saw a normal person. She was like, because she was surprised because I'm not really the type to go gaga or like even our men, she's like, why? She was like, no wonder why it's me. And then later we were sitting, before you know it, I saw MD, and I was like, Chinga MD, and he was wearing sunglasses, I think. So I was like, Chinga MD. And then like again, why is she? And I was like, no wonder why it's me, man. And you're like, me, I wonder why it's. I was like, kujira za ku gansu, za ku ga zan nuna muku abubuwan su. And then later on, when I think we were going out to pray, I saw VZ. And I was like, no, I think I saw G Boy first. And then I freaked out again. I was like, G Boy. G Boy, King of G Boy, King of G Boy. And then later on, when we went out, I saw VZ. No, I think I saw him before we went out, and then I kept on following him. I held Aisha's hand, and I was like, and then we went out because that day it was very sunny. Ranar da aka yi ranar. Ba wai normal rana ba ce. Bayan rana da wani zafi da. It was hot sunny. And so when we went out, Aisha was like, Isan, ko mu tafi masallaci ko mu koma ciki? And I was like, to Isan ki je ki mishi magana. And I was like, no, I cannot. Ya zan je mishi magana. And Fizzy was just there, taking pictures, being humble, and he was like, never. That's. Mm. 'Your. 'So, and then, 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 'So And then like we just stood by the side and then we kept Mahamadu. And then like we kept on I kept on watching him from afar, taking pictures and whatnot. And at the same time, my sister was there, being the celebrity of her own. People were taking pictures of her and with her, because if she was with me at that time, I would have asked her to please talk to him first, because she's good at distance. Because I can remember when I was a fan of Amal Umar, we went to a birthday party and then I saw her there and we were sitting literally adjacent to each other, on a table, and I couldn't talk to her until my sister talked to her and told her that I'm her fan, and I was like, oh my god. So that happened. I still didn't go and talk to Fizi until we came back inside, and I think I was with Abdul Samad, and then I was with Abdul Samad, aka First Level. We have known each other for such a long time. He's a great guy. And then I was like, Kagaji boy, Kagaji boy. And he was like, Jake Mishimagana. And I was like, I was like, yeah. And then I think he talked to Jibo and then said Jibo Yedrio. And then I was like, Inauni. And Jibo was like, and I was like, yeah, get up. Yeah. I was like, yee. And then I think, yeah, and then no, I think before I talked to Yasar, I talked to MD. Sorry, MD. Abdul Samad Sheikh MD Magana, and then I greeted him too, and I was like, I'm a big fan. And I don't know, they are all so humble. Kung yan, basta da nanayen maza, basta da irin wannan gadar. Kusan maza suna da wata irin gada, irin su zaƙewa mace, basu da wani abu. So, I talked to MD shi ma din, sai muka ɗan gaisa. And then Easy. Oh my god. Because yeah. So Abdul Samad was like, sai mishi magana. I think yeah, Abdul Samad ne ya mishi magana, and then studio. I literally couldn't stand. Well, there's this video that I saw that my friend saw it, Saad, and she was like, "Give me Kiki girgiza." By girgiza nake ba, I was saying, I saw it, and I was like, "Oh my god, I saw my beauty." So sai muka tsaya muna gaisa, and then Fiji was like, and there was I just freaking out and going. And so we took a picture. We took a picture and all, and it was very nice. It was like, see you. And then that was when I talked to Yasar, and then I was also happy talking to Yasar, and then we took a picture, even though the whole pictures, his eyes were closed, but okay. And so the thing that I regret the most is when they were leaving, for some particular reason, I told them, su gaida DJ AB. What? I need Chinchawe. Like, imagine, and they were all like, to. Especially you, was like, to. Bangani was gaida DJ AB. Like, imagine they would go, I'm like, yeah, but akwai ta yarinya a Kano, fan ɗin ka ce tana gaishe ka. Oh, okay, to. Anyways, let's get into the video. As we all know, after the death of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, the next Caliph that was appointed, to rule the Islam community, because it needed a ruler, was Abubakar as-Siddiq. So after the Prophet died, there was a meeting by the Shura Council, a council called the Shura Council that included the Muslim Quraysh, the Muhajiruns, the Ansars, and co. And they had to decide who the next caliph was. And so Abubakar was chosen because not just that Abubakar was a good person and he was a very good friend, the best friend of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu. No, he was also chosen because of his good attributes. Even before the coming of Islam, he never engaged himself in drinking, the other thing, gambling or worshiping idols. He was a humble person with good principles even before the coming of Islam. And so a lot of people even converted to Islam due to him because they know this good person wouldn't lead us to a bad ending or to a bad religion or to a bad thought. And so, and given the fact that I think he's the second or third person to accept Islam, and so, which is he's the first elderly man to accept Islam. Yes. And so, and one of the big reasons why Abubakar was actually chosen as the Caliph at that time was because when Prophet Muhammad was sick, he chose and asked Abubakar as-Siddiq to lead prayers. At that time, leading prayers isn't just about kawai kowa ma zai iya. No, it was a big deal. You understand? And so Abubakar as-Siddiq was chosen as the next caliph. As you all know, he was born in Mecca at 573 AD after the death of Christ, of course. And his real name is actually Abu Ka'ab. I don't know if I know how to say the Ka'ab right, if it's Ka'ab or Ka'ab. His real name is Abu Ka'ab. And he was nicknamed Abubakar as-Siddiq. Yes. So I'm gonna cut it the story short, telling his background stories because I'm here to talk about what he did as a caliph and the lessons driven from it. So in tarihi and it's very nice to hear. So before the prophet died, there was a task he was on, the adopted son of the prophet, Kuntinashi, Zaid ibn Harith. Remember him? Wanda har aka ce da ya saki matan shi prophet ya aura har mutane suka dinga cewa ai ya auri ex ex-wife in ɗan shi har Allah lokacin ya sauko da aya cewa adopted son ɗinka is not your son and shouldn't inherit, Zaid was mentioned in the Surah Al-Ahzab for the clarification, of the adopted son and all. You can check the reference. And so she said ibn Harith wasn't Fintinashi. So there were people that killed his father. And so at that time, Prophet Muhammad has already tasked Osama to go and, siyaki waɗanda suka kashe baban Zaid ibn Harith. And so he died ba a yi hakan ba. So shine first task da Abubakar ya ɗauka. When Abubakar was chosen as the Caliph, he said, and I quote, "I have been appointed over you, though I am not the best amongst you." After the death of the Prophet, that was his first speech. And so the first task he carried on was about Osama's army. Many companions in the army wanted to cancel the expedition, cancel that task. But even though with that, kunsan akwai pressure, on the current ruler and all, when it's not no. Abubakar said, and I quote, "He will not undo a decision made by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even if Medina will be left vulnerable." He stood by annabi da ya wafati. Even after his death, he stood by his words, by his decisions. It didn't matter menene yake faruwa at that particular moment. Abinda annabi ya fara ya ce sai ya ƙarashe shi. Kuma there is no way annabi ya ɗau wannan hanya zai ce yayi nan. He refused. And so Usama actually went on the expedition and they won the battle and then they came back. And so from this, the lesson of course to be driven from this is aka ce mu koyi da manzo Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hell yeah, we aren't perfect. We cannot be. We can't. But see, the thing is, we tend to forget to do that, don't we? We end up doing things. Saboda wani ɗan wana mutum na yanzu ya ce wai shi ne daidai ko kuma saboda a group of people suna yin shi, ni ma sai peer pressure, ni ma sai sani sai na yi. Okay, sure, yeah, why not? A lot of times idan dai har kai abu different and then people will be like, normally yanzu ma haka ake cewa ka fiye iya yi ko I don't know. And you say, ka kuma da ba ka ce ai koyi da manzo Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam sai a fara to ke kana kaza ai kaza ma ba ki yi ai kaza ma kina yi. Nobody asked you to be perfect, little missy. But then do not forget your roots. Do not. In my first video of this season 3, I think I said this and I will repeat it again. Hanyar gaskiya guda ɗaya ce. Babu haka. Yawwa. Akwai ta hakan nan, akwai kuma ta mutane da ta yi haka. If you choose to follow this and this and that, to kin fita da kana. Ko in ce ka fita da kana. You understand? There is no way zan haɗa nan da nan wai. You cannot sugarcoat things into this line. Yes, you can fall out kai ba daidai ba, but you can never sugarcoat this right line. Oh my God, I should be using my right hand for this. So the thing that Abubakar, has showed us in this lesson is that ya yi koyi da annabi, ya yi koyi da manzo Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This isn't only about the waging war on the people who killed the father of Zayd ibn Harith. For the fact that Abubakar, upon taking the leadership as the first Caliph, there was pressure. Never forget. After pressure, a lot of companions in the army that already Annabi ya hada, Usama's army, suka ce a. But he stood, he said, no, la. He will carry on with the decision that the Prophet has made. But today, we forget about abinda annabi ya ko abinda Nana Aisha ta yi ko abinda Nana Fatima ta yi, and then we just go on about our, lives. Yeah. If you talk, people will be like, to ai kima kina kaza. Okay, sure, yeah, okay. Mu daina tunawa junanmu gaskiya. Let's all be illiterate and stupid. The next task I had for Abubakar as-Siddiq, which will be the last one, and was the false prophets, that arose at that time. Apparently, there were false prophets from there and there. The Messiah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, okay, sai suka tashi sai suka ta saka kansu wai they are prophets. These false prophets arose, and in a lot of books it's written apostasy. You know, this false prophets they committed apostasy. Sorry, these false prophets they committed apostasy, which is known as Ridda, right? Yeah, so the likes of Musaylima, Aswad, Ansi, right, from the Ansi tribe, name also known as the, is it veil prophet? Saj'a, is it? Or Saj'a, which actually got married to Musaylima, Dulayha, and the likes of them, right? So there is actually a bit of an argument between different parts that did these people commit the sin of apostasy, sun yi ridda, ko kuma ba ridda bace? Here's the thing. I can remember actually having this, I wouldn't call it an argument, but you know, that they didn't commit apostasy. That was the first thing that I said to the other person. Because there was another person who said they didn't commit. And then our lecturer said they committed apostasy. And then I supported the other student because I was like, because the students said they did not commit apostasy because they were already Muslims. Because committing apostasy shine ka bar Islam ka koma arni. Saboda haka being a false prophet doesn't mean ni sai ne magana. I was like, yes, I agree with him because zai yi abu mai yiwuwa ne you are a Muslim kuma ka yi sin. You understand? No matter how big or little the sin is, you can commit a sin. And then our lecturers like, to zama false prophet ba sin bane nace sin. But that does not make you a non-Muslim. Because the only thing that makes you a non-Muslim is Salah. Period. And then he said, we don't know if suna Salah or not. I was like, Allah ne kawai san wannan. Tunda dai ba mu da shi daga tarihi to ba mu sani ba. Am I right? And so, I first actually asked our lecturers, like, are you sure they were Muslims before the death of the Prophet? And then he said yes. And so the conclusion of this was that they did commit the sin of apostasy. I hope I am pronunciating this word right. They did actually commit the sin of ridda. Because at the end of the day, Abubakar as-Siddiq wouldn't have waged war against them and slaughter these people if they were still Muslims. Abubakar as-Siddiq created military armies. He divided them, I think, into 11 divisions. Each one had their commander, and they went and waged war against these false prophets. They actually defeated I think half of them, Zulayha, Aswad. I think the one who gave them a bit of a problem was Musaylima, due to the fact that sun haɗa hannu da Saj'a, tunda ta zo ta aure shi. I think Saj'a was the only one that wasn't a Muslim. Yeah, amma kuma su ta aure Musaylima, sabo sha ba mu sani ba, ko ta zama Musulma ba. Ita kaɗai ce ba mu sani ba. So like da suka haɗa hannu, it was a bit of a headache for Abubakar's army, but then they were defeated by the one and only, the brave, the warrior, Khalid ibn Walid. Khalid ibn Walid. It's not Walid, it's Walid. They were defeated by Khalid ibn Walid. Yes. And that's aka kashe wutar false prophets. Yes. After that, I keep on saying prophet. After that, Caliph Abubakar as-Siddiq, he tried his best to spread Islam beyond Arabia and ɗaukaka musulunci and all you know haɗa ayoyin Allah da can da nan da nan da can dai aka dai ɗan fara tattara Ƙur'ani ba dai a haɗa shi ba amma dai kun gane. And don't forget, in this case of the false prophet and apostasy, Abubakar as-Siddiq said, and I quote, by Allah, if they withhold even a rope they use to give zakat, I will fight them. This teaches us that faith is not about convenience. You don't choose what you can and then discard the rest. It's not about convenience. It wasn't convenient for him to, go and see case. He could have left them in the city. You understand? Ya tattara musulman da suke gabansa ya ci gaba da koyar da su. But it wasn't about convenience for him. So it was about gyara. But nowadays, ba ma gyara. Sai dai mu ce, ba ruwana, ni ba ruwana. It is ba ruwana that will kill us. It is ba ruwana. Ba ruwana, ni ba ruwana. Ba ruwana. But we can gossip. We can gossip, we can talk about people. Amma ba ruwan. Idan dai aka zo wurin gyara, be like, ba ruwana. What is happening? This generation, and I won't say we're Gen Z generation, probably just generation of everybody will be gaslighting you into thinking kana zakewa. Because if something happens at titi ko kuma a wuri kaza, because there was this thing that I went to, my brother was given this appointment and work appointment, and apparently the governor was supposed to hand the certificate to them. So he was like, in jail, inda ina da time da Allah yana so in zo mishi hoto. Then I'm a videographer, but then in zo mishi hoto ko video. Then I was like, sure, okay, washe gari na shirya na tafi government house. Ina zuwa muna shiga coronation hall. Kawai daga mutane, like, I was like, Nina, but for real, for me, I thought irin ɗan ƙaramin abu ne kawai za mu je kawai ya bashi da naga ƙaton taro and all. So the thing was, as I was standing by the security, because I went outside negative security. So the thing is, I think my brother's friend stood up from his seat, and then another influential person came and sit there. And then after he came back, it's like, I wuce and all kaza. And mutanen gurin, they were like, kai ka san waye wannan ya zama ai ka zo kana tambayar shi ya tashi kai ka yi wai. I think it was my brother or his friend. So I was standing, and then I turned around, and then I said to the person that was shouting that influential person in yana zaune, and I was like, I said to them, Manzo Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ya ce duk, and then they kept quiet and they were listening to me. Come on, with tunanin wai basu ji ni ba. So I was like, Manzo Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ya ce duk wanda ya zauna a guri ya tashi wani ya zauna, wanda ya fara zaman nan shine rightful owner of that seat. Not really owner, but shine rightfully kujerar shi ce. And then the guy that was shouting, he almost said, because he started saying, he was like, to mu ina ruwanmu da abin. Sai bai karasa ba. Sai ya canja hanya. Sai ya katse wannan magana, sai ya koma. To amma kin san wai wannan ce, regardless of who he is. Kai ai wannan duk faɗar dace ai kaza. Yeah, I know. So okay, I think we have managed to drive a lesson from that. To close the chapter of Abubakar as-Siddiq, he fell ill on the 7th of, I think, Jumada Akhir. He fell sick on the 7th. And as he was in sick bed, I'm gonna kill my brother one of these days. I will literally slaughter his head Muhammadu.
Ina sama da ƙasa?
As he fell ill on the 7th of Jumada Akhira, as he was ill on his ill bed, and he felt like he's not gonna make it. And so he called in the Shura Council. And in the presence there was Umar, Ali, and Uthman. And Zain ibn Tabitko, yes, I think. And so he said it's time to decide who the next Caliph is going to be. And so he said he chooses Umar. And so the Shura Council at first said no, they opposed it. But then later, because Umar is known for his anger, let me say he's a bit tempered, you know? So at first they were like, no, no, no. And then afterwards they agreed. And Abubakar As-Sadiq said that he knows Umar is a bit tempered, but when he will be made the caliph, he will be more lenient to the Muslim community. And so Abubakar As-Sadiq died on the 22nd of Jumada Akhir.